Hello students, welcome to class 12 physics class. Today we start a new chapter, that is magnetic effect of electric current. And these are the few key points and main points we discuss today. Okay, so let's start. Magnetic effect of electric current. We know that there are three types of effect of current. One is a heating effect of current. Second one is magnetic effect of current. Heating effect of current we discuss in current electricity chapter. Magnetic effect of current. Another one is a chemical effect of current, which is studied in class 8. Now in this class 12 we discuss the details about magnetic effect of electric current. Little bit we also studied in class 8 and class 10, but not in full details. Few new topics also we here. We derive that formulas. Okay. So without any delay, let's start the today's topic, magnetic effect of electric current. So magnetic effect of electric current. So first we have to know what is magnet. We know that a magnet attracts a small piece of iron, cobalt, nickel, etc. And what is the magnetic field? The space or the region around the magnet within which its influence can be experienced is called magnetic field, similar to the electric field. Electric field also, that the field or the area surrounded by a charge, that is called source charge, where within which we can influence or we can experience its influence. Influence means its force. That is called electric field. So same here, if we put a magnet over any place, so surround the space or the region around that magnet within which we can experience its magnetic force. The force exerted by the magnet, that is called magnetic force. Or we can say that its influence can be experienced, is called magnetic field. So magnet is a substance which attracts small pieces of, they are not the all, but a few metals, that is iron, cobalt, nickel, etc. Few substances over there. These are called the magnetic substances, and the space around the magnet within which we can experience its force, that is called magnetic field. So magnetic effect of electric current means, magnetic effect of electric current, that means due to the electric current we get the magnetic field. Due to the electric current we get the magnetic effect. That means we also studied in class 10 this topic, magnetic effect of electric current, and we know that when a electric current flows through a conducting wire, it produces electric field as well as the magnetic field also around the conductor. That is called magnetic effect of electric current. Clear? So here an electric current means flow of electric charge, produces magnetic effect in the space around the conductor called strength of magnetic field or simply magnetic field. And this phenomena is called, because magnetic field there will it will create it, and that means one effect of magnetic effect is created, that's why we get the magnetic field. So this phenomena or this process is called magnetic effect of electric current, and this one is discovered by scientist Oersted. But did you know that this relationship between the electricity and the magnetism was first noticed by an Italian scientist? Okay. He found that an electric current flowing in a conducting wire affects a magnetic needle, but he did not explain it properly, that fact of the magnetic field associated with an electric current. Later this phenomena is rediscovered by physicist Hans Christian Ørsted. That experiment is called Ørsted experiment, and we know that experiment. That means when current was allowed to flow through a wire placed parallel to the axis of the magnetic needle as shown in the figure, kept directly below the wire, the needle was found to deflect from its normal position. That is a Ørsted experiment. Ørsted considered a magnetic needle, or the magnetic needle is situated below the conducting wire. Whenever the switch is on, that means closed circuit, electric current flows through the circuit. Okay, and we see that, or the scientist Ørsted discovered that the magnetic needle also deflect from its position. And he also rediscovered that if we reverse the direction of current, suppose in first time the current as shown is, you see this figure, the first case the current is flowing from down to upwards direction, but in second current is flowing through up to downward direction. So that means if we change the direction of current, or if we reversed the current through the wire, the deflection of needle also reverse. That means if in first case the needle will deflect in right side, so in second case it will deflect in left side. So the deflection direction also changes as we change the reverse current. And if we open the circuit, that means if we switch off the key, then that means no current is flows through the circuit, and we see that the needle, there is a no deflection in the needle, deflection also 0. That means whenever the current is situated inside the conducting wire, as here there around the conductor, the electric field and as well as the magnetic field also created. And that's why the magnetic needle will deflect. I hope you know. I know you know this experiment, but still I just once I recall that one. Okay. Next, right hand thumb rule. For which case we use this right hand thumb rule? We use the right hand thumb rule for direction of magnetic field. In which direction the magnetic field is created, to find out that we use this law. What is this law? This law states that if a current carrying conductor is imagined to be held in the right hand such that the thumb points in the direction of the current, then the other fingers encircling the conductor will give the direction of the magnetic lines of force. That means if you hold any conducting wire and your thumb represents the direction of flow of electric current, then in which direction other fingers, except the thumb, other 4 fingers, in which direction they will move, in that is the direction of magnetic lines of force or magnetic field, direction of magnetic field. As shown in this figure, you see that the thumb represents the current I, and the other 4 fingers in which direction they will hold the wire, that direction, that is the direction of magnetic field, and magnetic field is denoted by B. Okay, since the magnetic needle can be deflected by the magnetic field only if it follows the this experiment that a current carrying conductor produces a magnetic field around it. We can conclude this one. Clear? Another one rules also be there for direction of magnetic field, that is Maxwell corkscrew rule or right hand corkscrew rule, right hand screw rule. That means in your right hand, with the help of our right hand, if we move the screw, that is in which direction they will move, that is the direction of magnetic field. If the forward motion of an imaginary right-handed screw is in the direction of current through a linear conductor, then the direction of rotation of the screw gives us the direction of the magnetic lines of force around the conductor. That means we place the screw along the current direction, electric current direction, and in which direction they will rotate. Right hand screw, in which direction they will rotate, they will gives us the direction of magnetic field lines. Okay. Another one, also one rule is there, Ampere's swimming rule. We know that one. Here I will not give because this we know, we studied in class 10. So that's why I will give here the two rules, right hand thumb rule or curl rule. Another one is a cross screw rule. So what is Ampere's swimming rule? Imagine a man swimming along the wire in the direction of the flow of electric current, with his face always turned towards the magnetic needle. Then the north pole of the needle will get deflected towards his left hand. Actually, the Ampere swimming rule used to detect in which direction the north pole of the magnetic needle will deflect. That means we place that magnetic needle in under the conducting wire. So whenever the current will passes through the wire, this magnetic needle will deflect, and we conclude the deflection of the magnetic needle with respect to the north pole. So in which direction the north pole will move, that is we can determine by using the Ampere swimming rule. So this two rules, right hand thumb rule and the Maxwell Coxcrow rule, we used for the direction of magnetic field, in which direction the magnetic field lines move, and the Ampere swimming rule we use to detect in which direction the north pole of the magnetic needle will deflect. So the rule is, imagine a man swimming along the wire in the direction of the flow of the current with his face always turned towards the magnetic needle. Then the north pole of the needle will deflect towards his left hand. In which direction that swimmer's left hand will move, in that direction the north pole of the magnetic needle will move. We know this one. Now this is a new topic of this chapter, Biot-Savart law. Biot-Savart law. Okay, this we did not studied in class 10. This is a new one, and this is a very important law. That Oersted experiment showed that the current carrying conductor produces a magnetic field around it. Clear? So from Oersted experiment we understand that when a magnetic field also create or produce around the conducting wire. And if we assume that this field is made of contribution from different segments of a conductor, that means the small part of the conducting wire, if the length of the conducting wire is L, if we consider a small length of the wire, that is DL, we also know that the small part means DL, we studied in class 11, and that small segment of the conductor is called current element. That means DL, that is called current element, and that current element is a vector quantity. It is denoted by DL by the vector sign. Clear? Okay. And this that direction of this, because it is a vector quantity, so it has magnitude as well as the direction. So direction of this current element is towards the current direction. In which direction current will flow, that is the direction of DL. Now after a series of experiment on the current carrying conductor of a simple conductor of simple shapes, two French physicists, that is Biot and Savart, deduce an expression for the magnetic field of a current element which is known as Biot-Savart law. Okay. So current element means a small segment of the conductor, that is DL. It is called current element. So the Biot-Savart law, the scientists Biot and Savart deduce an expression for the magnetic field due to this current element, which is known as Biot-Savart law. That means Biot-Savart law nothing but it is constitute with this current element, that is small current element, that is DL. So let's discuss the statement of Biot-Savart law. It is stated that the strength of magnetic field dB, the strength dB, why dB? Because we consider a small current element, that is DL. So due to that current element, whatever the magnetic field is produced at point P, you see in the diagram, that is P, at point P we calculate the magnetic field. It is a here in this figure we consider a conducting wire which is carrying a current, that is I. Let us consider a point where we calculate the magnetic field due to this small current element DL. So due to that small current element, whatever the magnetic field is produced at point P, that is also very small. So that's why we write as a dB. Okay, and the R vector is a position vector of point P relative to the current element DL. R, that is small r, it is a position vector of point P relative to the element DL. And we consider the angle between DL and R is theta. The angle between DL and R is theta. Both are the vector quantity. Okay, both are the vector quantity. So what is the statement? Let's study the statement. The strength of magnetic field dB due to small current carrying element, due to small current element DL carrying a current I at a point P, distance r from the element is directly proportional to I, is directly proportional to DL, is directly proportional to sine theta. The angle between this theta, so we consider that is a sine theta. Okay, and inversely proportional to the square of the distance between them. Inversely proportional to the square of the distance between them. So what the statement? According to the Biot-Savart law, the magnitude of the field dB is directly proportional to the current I through the conductor, directly proportional to the length of DL, that is a current element DL of the and directly proportional to the sine theta, and lastly inversely proportional to the square of the distance r of the point P from the current element. Now if we combine, so mathematically we can write dB proportional to I, dB proportional to DL, dB proportional to sine theta, and dV proportional to 1 by r square. Now if we combine this four equation, we get dB proportional to I dL sine theta by r square. I dL sine theta by r square. Now in place of a proportional sign, if we use the equal sign, so we have to multiply it with a constant term, that is k. So dB equals to k into I dL sine theta by r square, and this proportionality constant k depends on the medium between the observation point P and the current element. This value of k here I will not write directly, I put the values. So at first in place of mu0 by 4 pi we write the k, and this is the proportionality constant, and it depends on the medium. What is the medium between the current element and the point? What is the medium between the P and DL? So for free space, if we consider there is a free space or the air medium or vacuum, and in SI unit we write the value of k, that is mu 0 by 4 pi. Mu 0 by 4 pi, and the value of mu 0 by 4 pi, that is 10 to the power minus 7 Tesla milliampere inverse. Tesla milliampere inverse. So in place of k, if we put mu 0 by 4 pi, when we choose that the medium between the point P and DL is a air medium or free space, and in SI unit we can write in place of k, that is mu 0 by 4 pi. So we get ultimate equation or final equation, dB equals to mu 0 by 4 pi I dl sin theta by r square. I dl sin theta by r square, where mu 0 is a constant. It is called permeability of free space. We also studied in the first chapter, electricity chapter. So mu 0 is called permeability of free space. So we can write the Bar-Savart law equation, that is dB equals to mu 0 by 4 pi I dl sin theta by r square. Now in vector form, because here dB magnetic field also a vector quantity, current element also a vector quantity, position vector also be a vector quantity. So how we can represent that equation in vector form? So we know that we introduce one unit vector, because direction is there, that whenever the direction comes we also use that sorry unit vector, that is r hat. So we can write dB vector equals to mu 0 by 4 pi I dl cross r hat by r square. Or we can write r hat unit vector equals to what we can know, unit vector equals to that vector by its magnitude. That means r unit vector equals to r hat equals to r vector by r. So if we put that value over there, we get dV vector equals to mu 0 by 4 pi I dl cross r by r cube. In place of r hat, if we put its value, then we get that final expression. It is a vector form of Bar-Savart law, and it is a very important law. And the value also given here, I just mu 0 by 4 pi, mu 0 equals to 4 pi into 10 to the power minus 7. So mu 0 by 4 pi are only 10 to the power minus 7. Okay. And the direction, how we calculate the direction of dB, that means the magnetic field. The direction of dB is the direction of the vector, here vector quantity is dl cross r, is same as that of the direction of dl cross r, that term, which can be determined by the right hand screw rule. Right hand screw rule. If we placed a right handed screw at a point P perpendicular to the plane of the paper and turns its handle from dl to r, dl cross r means dl to r, then the direction in which the screw advances or screw rotates gives the direction of dB. Thus the direction of dB is perpendicular to and into the plane of paper. To and into the plane of paper. You see that in this figure, as shown in this figure, it is shown by encircled cross at point P. At point P, the cross sign is there. Another, if we consider the P point is this side, P dash, so there is a dotted point, dot point. So it is emerging dot at P dash and entering. If the magnetic field enter into the plane, okay, inverse direction, it will represent by circle with cross sign, and if it will emerges from the plane, then it will be denoted by dot sign. If you consider the point P in P dash, that is P dash, that's why here I will draw 2 points, P and P dash. So whatever the calculation we consider with respect to P point. So at point P, if we apply the right hand screw rule, we see that the direction of magnetic field, it is into the paper, perpendicular and into the paper. inverse direction. That's why it is represented by cross sign. Now if you consider the P point is this side, that means left hand side, where the P dash point, if you consider, in that point if you apply the right hand screw rule, you see that the magnetic field emerges out from the plane. That's why there are dotted sign over there, circle and dot over there. I hope you understand that one. Current element is a vector quantity whose magnitude is a vector product of the current and length of a small element having the direction of the flow of current IDL. I hope you understand this one, how we can understand the direction of magnetic field, and it is very important to mention the direction of magnetic field. It is inverse direction or it is outward direction. Inverse direction cross, outward direction dot. Okay. Now next one, application of Biot-Savart law, that is magnetic field due to a straight current carrying conductor. Magnetic field due to a straight current carrying conductor. So here and in this figure you see that we consider a straight current carrying conductor. If you want to name, that is XY, here I did not mention any name. So here we consider a straight conductor carrying a current I. We find its magnetic field at the point P, because if the current is flowing through the conducting wire as per the Biot-Savart Oersted experiment, the magnetic field also produced. So we find out the magnetic field, we find its magnetic field at point P, whose perpendicular distance from the wire, that is A. From the wire its perpendicular distance is A. You see the figure. Now we considered a small current element, that is DL, and of the conductor, and its distance from that Q point, at least that a point where that perpendicular distance, that is L. Here the green color, you see that this one is L. The DL to the perpendicular, where it is that A direction, A is the distance between the P to the perpendicular direction to the conducting wire. So where it will form the 90 degree, that point to DL, that distance is L. And R vector is the position vector of point P relative to the current element DL. R vector is the position vector of point P relative to the current element, and theta is the angle between DL and R. Theta is the angle between DL and R. Now according to the Biot-Savart law, what we can write? dV equals to mu 0 by 4 pi I dl sin theta into r square by r square. Now from this figure, what we find out the value of dl, we find out the value of sin theta and we put it over there. So sin theta value we can get from this diagram, from the triangle, that P right angle triangle. Okay, so sin theta equals to, we can write A by R, and that is equals to cos phi. So from this figure you can understand. So R equals to, we get A by cos phi, because that theta plus phi, that is a 90 degree. So theta equals to 90 degree minus phi. So sin theta equals to sin 90 degree minus phi, that is equals to cos phi. Okay, so whatever the value of sin theta, that is the value of cos phi. So sin theta equals to, if A by R, that is equals to cos phi. So R equals to A by cos phi. So tan phi equals to L by A. Tan phi means perpendicular by base. So perpendicular, that is L, and base, that is A. So L by A. So L equals to A tan theta, but we want the value of dl. So dl equals to, so we differentiate both sides. So dl equals to what we can write? A sec square phi into d phi. We know that the differentiation from I hope you studied in class in mathematics. If you differentiate both sides, we get dl equals to a sec square phi into d phi. Now if we put the value of r, dl and in and sin theta also, that means sin theta, in place of sin theta we can write cos phi in the first equation of dB. So we get dV equals to mu 0 by 4 pi I cos phi d phi by a, cos phi d phi by a. This is the magnetic field due to a straight current carrying conducting wire. Now if we consider the magnetic field due to the whole conductor, because this is for a small current carrying element due to the dl. Now if we consider the whole conductor, so what we, and its angle, you see that in dotted line we can draw the angle from point P, that is phi 1 and phi 2. So we can say that because we want to find out the total magnetic field due to the whole conductor, so we integrate both sides of this equation. So with the limit theta 1 to theta 2. Theta 1 is negative because it is in anti-clockwise direction. So if we integrate both sides, so we get b equals to integration of dB, integration minus theta 1 to theta 2, mu 0 I cos phi d phi by a by 4 pi into a. Now if we integrate this one, we get ultimate final equation or final magnetic field due to the whole current carrying conductor, not for only the current element, due to the whole straight current carrying conductor, that is b equals to mu 0 I sin phi 1 plus sin phi 2 by 4 pi into a. I hope it is clear to everyone. B equals to mu 0 I sin phi 1 plus sin phi 2 by 4 pi into a. This is the expression for magnetic field due to the straight wire current carrying conductor. So whenever this derivation will come, so you just this here I will write the mathematical steps, so you also add some statements also. In from any book you get the statement as per the diagram. You just write down the few that with respect to that equations, what is the statement, that let us consider this is a current carrying conductor. We calculate the magnetic field at point P at a distance, perpendicular distance a from the wire, like this way. This few statement you have to write, not only the mathematical steps. You have to write the statement also, otherwise the marks will be deducted. Okay. Now here some special cases or some assumptions over there. If we consider the straight wire is infinitely long, if the straight wire is infinitely long, that means the point P lies near the middle of the conductor. If the conducting wire infinitely long, that means the point P lies near the middle of the conductor, and that time the angle phi 1 and phi 2, that will equals to pi by 2, that is equal to the pi by 2. So P point is very near to the middle of the conductor, so we can assume that phi 1 and phi 2, that is equals to 90 degree. So if we put it this value phi 1 equals to phi 2 equals to pi by 2 in this expression, b equals to this one, we get the expression b equals to mu 0 to I by 4 pi a, that is equals to mu 0 I by 2 pi into a. Clear? And the direction of b, how we calculate the direction of b? Direction of b is same as that of the direction of dl cross r, which can be determined by right hand screw rule. Already we discussed this one. It is perpendicular to the plane of the diagram and entering the plane at P, like this way. Okay, this two diagram is detect that the direction of magnetic field with respect to the direction of current. Another one assumption we can take, that if the conductor is infinitely long but the point P lies near any one end, either the upper end or the lower end, any one end, not the both end. If this wire is infinitely long but the P point lies near the any point, any end, either the upper end or the lower end, so any of the angle, either phi 1 or phi 2, will be 90 degree, another one will be 0 degree. So if we consider the P point is lies the very near to the bottom end, so the phi 1 equals to 90 degree and phi 2 equals to 0 degree. So if we put that value over there, we get B equals to mu 0 I by 4 pi A. Here I will not write this one, so you have to remember. This is one condition where phi 1 and phi 2, that both are the pi by 2. But here if we consider any one angle, that is phi 1 is 90 degree and phi 2 is 0 degree, when the P point is lies near the end, any one end, either the lower end or the upper end, then B equals to, we get mu 0 I by 4 pi into A. So it is clear that the magnetic field due to an infinitely long straight current carrying conductor at its one end is just half that of any point near its middle. Because when it will be middle, that is mu 0 I by 2 pi A. But when it is any one end, it will be mu 0 I by 4 pi A, just half. Whatever the value at middle, at any one end, it will be just half of the value of middle point. Clear? Okay. Now another one case, that is magnetic field or application. Magnetic field due to a circular current carrying loop, and it is a very also important. Okay. So here you see that we consider a circular loop of wire of radius A and a current carrying and it is carrying a current I as shown in this figure. Now let the plane of the loop be perpendicular to the plane of the paper, and we find the magnetic field at an axial point P at a distance x from its center O, from the center of the circular loop O. This language you can write in the exam time. Okay. At a point on the axial point P at a distance x from its center O. And now we consider a current element dl at the loop, at the top of the loop. We also consider the lower loop, but first we calculate the top of the loop. Whatever the value we get, same value we also get for the lower one, because radius is same for both half, upper half and the lower half. So now for calculation purpose, we consider a current element dl at the top of the loop. It has an outward coming current. Current will be outward direction. Outward current coming current. Now, if R be the position vector of the point P related to the current element dl, then if we apply the Biot-Savart law, the field at point P due to the current element, that is dB equals to mu 0 by 4 pi I dl sin theta by r square. Now here this dl is very small, so we can say that this dl is a straight line. So this dl and r are perpendicular to each other. So theta equals to 90 degree. It is a very small current element segment. Okay. So this is not a curvature. It looks like a straight line. Or straight line means it is from dl is perpendicular to r vector, that is theta equals to, that is here it is mentioned that theta equals to 90 degree. In diagram it is mentioned that is 90 degree. So if we put it over there, we get dB equals to mu 0 by 4 pi I dl by r square sin 90 Sin 90 value is 1. So we get mu 0 I dl by r square. Clear? And the angle theta is between the dl and r is 90 degree because the radius of the loop is very small, and since sin 90 equals to 1. Clear? Okay. The semi-vertical angle made by the r to the loop is phi, and the angle between r and db, that is 90 degree. Therefore, the angle between vertical axis and db, it is also phi. You see that? The phi, angle of phi, here it is mentioned that semi-vertical angle is made by r to the loop is phi. To the loop is phi to point P. Okay. So the angle between r and db is 90 degree. So the direction of db is perpendicular at the point, perpendicular to the point P, perpendicular to the point P. So the angle between db and the r, that is also be a phi. It is 90 degree. So therefore the angle between vertical axis of the db, so we can divide the db into component. db is perpendicular to the point P, and the angle between r and db, that is 90 degree. So if this dv can be resolved into component, one is a vertical component, another one is a horizontal component. Vertical component is dv cos phi and the horizontal component is dv sin phi. So the angle between this dv cos phi and db, the vertical axis and the db, that means dv cos phi and db is also phi. Same for the lower half also. If you consider the current element dl, small current segment element dl at the lower end, so at point P the db is perpendicular. So here also we can resolve into component cos phi and sin phi. This dv cos phi is the opposite direction of the previous one, and dv sin phi is the same, along the same direction. So the phi, for the lower half, current element segment, so the angle between dv cos phi and db is phi. I hope it is clear. So because this dv cos phi are opposite to each other, so it will cancel. It will cancel each other. dv resolve into components dv cos phi and dv sin phi for both the current element at the top and at the bottom also. So this cos phi is opposite to each other, and hence they will cancel out each other. So only which component is present, for which component we get the magnetic field at point P? Only for the sin phi, db sin phi. For sin phi components, due to the all current elements dl get added up along the same direction, that is the direction away from the loop, the sin phi direction is away from the loop, we get the total current. So the total magnetic field at point P in the direction that is away from the loop, B equals to, we can write integration of dB sin phi. Integration dB value we get mu 0 I dl by 4 pi r square into sin phi. So if we integrate this one, sin phi means, from this expression we can write sin phi means, what we can write? Sin phi means A by R. A by R. Sin phi means A by R. Okay. So if we put it over there and if we integrate this one, we get the equation B equals to mu 0 I 2 pi A into A by 4 pi A square plus X square into A square plus X square to the power half. That means we get B equals to mu 0 I A square by 2 into A square plus X square to the power 3 by 2. From where we get the 2 pi A? Integrate of dl. If we integration of dl, dl is the small dl, that is the circumference of the circular loop, and circumference of the circular loop, that is 2 pi into A. I hope you understand this integration. So ultimate expression B equals to mu 0 I A square by 2 A square plus X square to the power 3 by 2. So mu 0 I A sin phi are constant, and integration dl equals to 2 pi A, and r and sin phi is replaced with the measurable and constant values. Sine theta equals to, already we say that A by R. If we put the value sine phi like this way, and if we integrate this one, we get this value. So you do one thing in your home, when you write this notes in your copy, just do this integration. The 2 or 3 steps is left in between this to final result and the first step. So try to, in your home, put the values of sine theta, sorry, sine phi, that is A by R, and you integrate this one, you get this ultimate result. Now if we consider there is a one turns of loop, if there are n number of turns in the loop, so it is nothing but it's just multiply with a n. If the coil is consists of n turns, then B equals to what we can write, mu 0 n I a squared by 2 into a squared plus x squared to the power 3 by 2. Clear? Okay. Now special case at the center. This is we find out at a certain distance at point P from the center. If we find out the magnetic field at the center of the circular loop, so at the center of the circular loop, that means x equals to 0, because x is the distance between the point P and the circular point, as a circle, that is point O, center. Now if we find out the magnetic field at O, then this x equals to 0. So if we put x equals to 0 over there, we get mu 0 I a square by a cube 2a cube, mu 0 I a squared by 2a cube, because x equals to 0. So if we solve this one, we get mu 0 I by 2a, because a is cancelled over there. So we get B equals to mu 0 I by 2 into a. If n number of turns is there, then multiply it with the n, mu 0 ni by 2a, mu 0 ni by 2a, if n number of turns are there. Okay. Another one, if the observation point is far away from the coil, then a very less than x. A very less than x. A means the radius of the circle. If this radius of the circle is very less than the x, that means the distance x is very much from the center, then a is very less than x. So we can neglect the a squared term. We can neglect the a squared term. Okay, so what we can write? So if we cancel or if we neglect the a squared term, then we can write B equals to mu 0 I a squared by 2x cube by 2x cube. B equals to mu 0 I a squared by 2x cube. If n number of terms are there, just multiply it with a n. Mu 0 ni squared by 2x cube. Okay, I hope it is clear. And this is the different views of direction of current and the magnetic field due to a circular loop. We know this one, due to the circular loop, what is the direction of the magnetic field. You studied in class 10. Okay, this is the direction of magnetic field. As the because r square inversely proportional to the r square, as the r is the distance from the center. As the distance is increases, the magnetic field is become weaker, and if the distance is less from the center, then magnetic field is become strong. You see that where it will form the full circle, in that place the magnetic field is strong. As the r is increases, it becomes a straight line, not so curved. At the middle point, you see that this is a straight line. Okay, so as the distance is increases, the magnetic field is become weaker, and if the distance is less, then its magnetic field becomes stronger. Okay, now we find out the magnetic field at the center of the loop. Already we studied from here, but this is from this expression. Okay, at the center of the loop we get the same expression. Nothing but here how we can prove, if we find out the B at the center of the loop, at point B we consider a small current element dl, and the dl to center, it is a perpendicular, that is a 90-degree form. 90 degree, the angle between them is a 90 degree. So dB equals to, we can write mu 0 by 4 pi I dl sine 90 degree by a square. So sine 90 value is 1, so we get mu 0 I dl by 4 pi a square. It is due to the dl. So now we can assume this circle is consist with many of this small current element dl. So if we find out the total magnetic field at the center, we integrate both sides. So integration dB, that is integration of mu 0 I dl by 4 pi a square, and if you integrate this one, we get B equals to mu 0 I by 2a. If we integrate this one, then we get mu 0 I by 2a. If n number of terms are there, then mu 0 ni by a. And this is the graph. If we plot the graph B versus A, because mu 0 I by 2, it is a constant. So here B is inversely proportional to 1 by A. As A is increases, B is decreases. So this is a graph between the B and A. And here if you draw this one with respect to the second number, you get this one curve. Okay. This is all about the Biot-Savart law. Now, another one main topic, or very important topic, that is Ampere's circuitual law. Ampere's circuitual law. We in first chapter, electrostatic chapter, we studied Gauss law, Coulomb's law. So we can say that the Gauss law is an alternative form of Coulomb's law in electrostatic. Similarly, the Ampere's circuitual law is an alternative form of Biot-Savart law in magnetostatic or magnetism. Ampere's circuitual law gives us a relationship between the line integral of a magnetic field B and the total current I which produces this field. The line integral, you know this one, integration, closed integration, because in Gauss law we also use the closed integration, E dot dl, closed circular loop, closed path. So here also it will be the same, line integral of a magnetic field B and the total current I which produces this field. So it states that the line integral of the magnetic field B, that is closed integration of B dot dl, this is called line integral, around any closed circuit is equal to the, around any closed circuit or closed curve, anything you can write, but it is a closed, not open circuit. Gauss law also applicable for the closed circuit. So here Ampere's law also we are apply for closed circuit. Okay. So closed circuit is equal to mu 0 times the net current I, mu 0 times the total current or net current I trading or passing through this closed circuit or closed curve. So mathematically we can write closed integration or line integration of B dot dl, that is equals to mu 0 by I. What we get for the Gauss law? E dot closed integration E dot dl, that is equals to Q by epsilon naught. So here it will be mu 0 into I. Mu 0 into I. Clear? Or in a simplified form we can write the Ampere's circuitual law states that if magnetic field B is directed along the tangent to every point on the perimeter L of a closed curve and its magnitude is constant along the curve, then without any integration sign we can write only B into L, that is equals to mu 0 into I. And this closed curve or closed circuit encloses by the net current I, that is encloses by the closed circuit. This closed curve is called Amperean loop. Gaussian loop, here it is called Amperean loop. Here, how we can prove this expression? Here, if we consider a infinitely long straight current conductor current carrying a current I, so from Biot-Savart law, the magnitude of magnetic field B due to this current carrying conductor at a point at a distance, suppose r, at a distance r from it is given by B equals to mu 0 I by 2 pi r, mu 0 I by 2 pi r. Okay. So at r mu 0 I by 2 pi r, in this figure, in this right hand side figure, from this figure we can write this expression. Clear? So if we integrate this one, that means the magnitude of field B is same for the all point of on the circle, because it is from the 90-degree. R and the DL is from 90-degree. So the magnitude of field B is same for all points on the circle. So to evaluate the line integral of the magnetic field B along the circle, we consider a small current element DL along the circle, and at every point on the circle, both B and DL are tangential to the circle, so that the angle between them is 0. Angle between B and DL is 0. If B is not tangent to every point, then the angle between B and DL is not 0. Okay, so from this figure we consider the small current element DL along the circle, and every point on the circle the B and DL are tangential. B and DL both are the tangential, and because of this the angle between them is 0. So B dot DL equals to what we can write? B DL cos 0 degree. So that is equals to B into DL. Okay. So now if we integrate this one from this, here you see that the integration form, direct integration form is there. So integration of B dot DL, that is equals to B DL cos 0 degree. So cos 0 value 1. So we get B into DL. So B is constant. So integration of DL, integration of DL, what we can get? DL equals to, we get mu 0 I by 2 pi r. Sorry. B equals to, we get mu 0 I by 2 pi r, and integration of DL, that is equals to, we get L. That is equals to, we get L, or 2 pi r, the perimeter of the circle. 2 pi into r, if r is the radius. I hope you understand how we can write this form. That from the Biot-Savart law, we get the expression of B for this circular loop, that is mu 0 by 2 pi r. Already we studied this one, that's why we studied this one, mu 0 I by 2a at the center. And integration of DL, that is a perimeter, that is 2 pi r. So if we calculate this one, we get close integration or line integration of B dot DL, that is equals to mu 0 into I. 2 pi r cancel, so we get 2 mu 0 into I. I hope you understand. Again, I will just explain this one. We consider a infinitely long straight current conductor I. So from I, that means the from center, if we pass from this another one figure, here we placed through the center, if we pass any conducting wire perpendicular direction. So due to that, at the center, whatever the magnetic field is formed, that is equals to mu 0 I by 2 pi r. Now we consider the magnitude of the field B is same at the all point of the circle, and to find out the line integral of the magnetic field B along the circle, we consider a small current element DL, and this current element DL and the magnetic field at every point on the circle will be tangential, and because of this the angle between B and DL is 0 degree. So if we find out the total magnetic field for this circle, so we integrate this one, integration of B dot DL, that is equals to B DL cos 0 degree, cos 0 value 1, so we get B into DL, B constant, so integration of DL, that is a perimeter of 2 pi r, and B equals to, at the center already we discussed here, B equals to mu 0 I by 2 pi a, It is not necessary to prove this mu 0 by A. Just you can write, we know that at the center of the loop, the magnetic field B equals to mu 0 I by 2A. Just you write this one and use this and put it over there. Mu 0 I by 2 pi R. Here the 2 pi R. Okay. Here I will consider the 2A. But here 2 pi R. It will be 2 pi R. Okay. So mu 0 I by 2 pi R into 2 pi R. So 2 pi R cancel. So we get closed integration B dot dl, that is equals to mu 0 into I. Equals to mu 0 into I. I hope you understand this one. Why we can write in place of B mu 0 I by 2 pi R, in place of A. In place of A, why we can write 2 pi into R? If you are not understand, then you just mention over there in comment box. I will make the another one video for this one. Understand? Okay. Now, the magnetic field due to a center of straight solenoid. This is one application of the Ampere's circuitual law. Ampere's circuitual law. How we can, just you see the diagram properly first. First you see the diagram properly, then I will explain this one. This is very, very important. Okay, this is very, very important topic for this solenoid. Many times it will come. This one, and with related to this, the toroid also be there. This is a solenoid, and another one is there, that is called toroid. So how we can prove this one? We know that the solenoid means an insulated copper wire wounded closely in the form of helix. In the form of the cylindrical structure, that is called helix. That means the insulated copper wire wounded closely in the form of a helix. The word solenoid comes from a Greek word that is meaning channel and was first used by Ampere. By a long solenoid, we mean that the length of the solenoid is very large as compared to its diameter. Okay, so how we can prove this one? Let's see this. So here this is a sectional view, or this is a closed view of a solenoid. Okay, and first of all we apply this is, or you can say that this is a sectional view of a long solenoid, the small one, that is at various turns of the solenoid, currents comes out of the plane of the paper. It is marked as a dot. That upper point, you see that upper one, it is comes out from the plane, that's why the upper point it will mark as dot, and the lower point it will enters into the plane of the paper, that's why it will mark as, you see that it will cross, and the upper one is a dot. To determine the magnetic field at any inside point, so consider a rectangular closed path, that is PQRS, as the Amperian loop, because here we apply the Ampere's circuitual loop. So we have to consider one closed loop. So here closed, we consider a closed rectangular loop at any point you can take, and that is PQRS. Okay, so now this, according to the Ampere circuitual law, that is closed integration of B dot dl, that is equals to mu 0 into I. That is equals to mu 0 into I. We know this one. Now this B dot dl, because here we consider we apply only this rectangular path. So this rectangular path, one path is P to Q, then Q to R, then R to S, then S to P. So we can write this closed integration B dot dl, that is equals to closed integration of B dot dl along PQ plus closed integration B dot dl along QR plus B dot dl along RS plus B dot dl along SP. That means we divide B dot dl along the four paths of this rectangular loop PQRS. Okay. Now here you see that the path Q to R, there the angle is 90 degree. B dot dl, if we write B dot dl, B dl cos 90 degree, it is perpendicular direction Q to R. So B dot in place in a closed integration R QR, so in place of that we can write B dl cos 90 degree, that will be 0. And same as for SP, or PS, this is also perpendicular to the plane, so there also the cos 90 degree over there, so that term also be a 0. So we get the magnetic field only for the P and Q, only for the P to Q. Why? That's Q to R and S to P, it is 90 degree, and R to S lies outside the solenoid, and outside the solenoid no magnetic field is there, magnetic field is 0. That's why you see that whenever the second line it will write the closed integration PQ B dot dl, that is it's okay, P to Q, its angle is 0 degree, B dl cos 0 degree. Then Q to R, it is cos 90 degree. Then R to S magnetic field is 0, that's why 0 into dl cos 0 degree, plus then S to P, it's again 90 degree, so B dot dl cos 90 degree. I hope you understand. So the three terms, except the first one, the second, third and fourth term will be 0. So we get the magnetic field only for the PQ path. So if we integrate this one, integration of dl, that is dl means A, so B into A, and we know that B equals to mu 0 into I, here we consider the I naught, or you can write I also. So mu 0 into I, that is equals to mu 0 n into A into I, where small n is the number of turns per unit length, A is the length of the path, and I is the current passing through the solenoid. I hope you understand this one. Mu 0 into I, that is equals to mu 0 into n into A into L, I. So we can write B equals to we can write mu 0 into n into I. N is the number of turns per unit length. I hope you understand this one. Length is the length of the side PQ. Okay, and the number of turns per unit length, that is small n. So the number of turns in the length L of the solenoid, that is n into L. So thus the current I of the solenoid threads the loop PQRS, that is NL times. So total current threading the loop, that is N into I into L. That's why we can write BL equals to mu 0 N into I into L. That's why we can write B equals to mu 0 N into I. I hope it is cleared it now. Okay. Next one is for toroid. Toroid is a circular form of a solenoid. Toroidal solenoid, that is a circular form. Solenoid is a one horizontal form. So a solenoid, if a solenoid, that solenoid is bent to form a closed ring, it is called a toroid or Toroidal solenoid. So alternatively, we can say that it is an anchor ring around which a large number of turns of metallic wire are wounded, as shown in the figure. And we also find the magnetic field, and the magnetic field has a constant magnitude everywhere inside the toroid, while it is zero in the open space, interior and the exterior to the toroid. Interior point also it will be 0, exterior point it will also be 0. So on the toroid we get only the magnetic field. You see that the exterior point Q, at point Q it is 0, interior point at point 0, at point O it will be 0. So at point P, it is on the toroid we get the magnetic field at point or at point P only. So like this same way we can write enclosed integration B dot dl, that is equals to mu naught into I, or B dot dl equals to B dl cos 0 degree. At every point dl and B is a tangential and angle between them is a 0 degree. So dl means the perimeter of the circle, that is 2 pi into r. So we can write mu 0 into I, that is equals to mu 0 into n into 2 pi r into I. So B equals to, we get mu 0 n into I. So the expression for solenoid as well as for the toroid will be same. I hope you understand. This is what the like same the circular loop, the magnetic field at the circular loop. Okay. So the magnetic field exists only in the tubular area bounded by the coil, and it does not exist in the area inside and outside the toroid. Okay, I hope you understand this one. So if you have any doubt, please and next day we started from this here, Lorentz magnetic force. Okay, this is also very important, Fleming's right hand rule and the force on a current carrying conductor. So up to this I will stop it here, this video. So you studied in your home this one. I will not mention the statement here. So whatever the many derivations are there, so you have to write down the derivation. You take one help from the any reference book or from your NCERT book, but you have to write the at least necessary statement, not the so long, but the necessary condition. Whatever the mathematical form you used, with respect to that mathematical form, you just write down the statement. I hope you understand this one. If you have any kind of problem with this derivations, so please write in a comment box. So I will make a separate video on that topic only, not the whole video, on that topic only. Which topic you have a problem, please mention it in a comment box. So have a nice day. Tata, bye bye. Stay home, stay safe. Bye.